Hello and welcome to the Third Hand. I'm your host, Tucker, with my squatchy co-host, Maurice,
That's me.
also known as Jordan.
Yep.
So, to start off with, Jordan, what's your identity today?
Today, my identity, I'm going to be gender fluid, non-binary, and a little, what's the word? What do you call the people that break the law? A felon. I identify as a felon.
You identify as a felon today?
Yes.
Do I need to call the police?
No, I only identify as a felon. I haven't committed a felony, I should say.
I don't know. You kind of broke into my house according to the alarm that went off that one time when you were taking care of my house while I was on vacation.
Well, that's because your stupid key fob didn't work. I pressed the button like a bunch of times. I held it. I did all this stuff. And nothing happened. It didn't work. And the police showed up. And like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm feeding his fish.
Yeah, and that was the perfect time for me to be at a cell reception too.
Yeah, it was. I was like, crap. And they're like, here, why don't you stay here for a minute? I'm like, oh my God. And then your mom answered finally. And she's like, yeah, he was just feeding the fish. And
I was actually the one that answered.
Oh, you were? Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was the one that answered the phone. And it wasn't you that was on the phone; it was some other dude. And I thought I thought you were pranking me because like
that's right.
The police officer had the phone. He called me, and I was like, "Hello," and he's like, "Hi, this is Officer so and so for the Riverton City Police." And I thought that you had one of your friends call me to like mess with me, and I was about to be like, "Bro, give the phone to Jordan. Like, what the heck are you doing?" And then he's like. I have a Jordan Roberts with me. He says that he's feeding the fish in your house, and I'm like, oh, this is legit. Yes, yes, he is.
Yeah, good times.
Good times.
That was when you were dating your wife.
Yes,
at the time.
Yes, I was dating Maya at the time.
Yeah, and which is probably a good thing that I was feeding the fish, and the cops got called on me.
Yeah,
because. I don't know. It might have started like a little bit of an argument with.
That probably wouldn't have been good. Or we usually would have like other kids in the neighborhood take care of the fish for us, and so if there's like little 8-year-old Johnny or whoever like taking care of the fish, the cops show up, it's just like.
It'd be traumatic for the little guy.
It would. He'd be like flipping out.
Although I doubt the cops would be like, "Oh yeah, this 8-year-old's totally breaking into the house." They'd probably be more inclined to believe him.
I don't know. Maybe he could be an 8-year-old mastermind.
Well, I was a full-grown adult with some facial hair, so they're like,
maybe
let's get this checked out. Yeah.
Good times.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, you identify as a felon this time.
As a felon.
So, first you identified as... I don't remember what.
I don't know. Then the last time I identified as anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
Now I'm a felon.
Now you're a felon.
Yep.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty... I can't think of a good pun for felon, so...
I don't know. It's escalating, man.
It's escalating. Just like the war in Ukraine.
Yeah. That's escalating. Bro, have you seen those videos?
Depends. I've seen a bunch of videos coming out of Ukraine, but...
Bro, have you seen, like, the intense ones?
No.
Where, like, there's, like, dead bodies in the street?
No, I haven't seen those ones.
They're burnt, like, they're, like, crispy and in weird positions.
Huh.
You know, there's some crazy stuff. And, you know, it's hard to know what's, like, really going on, like, what's true. Like, is that, or those Russians that are burnt to a crisp, or those Ukrainians? Are they both, right? I don't know. And you hear all these, like, the death counts, right? Mm-hmm. People are saying that, all the Russians are dying, and there's just, like, a few losses to the Ukrainians. And then you hear the opposite. And then you don't, I don't know. All I know is it's bad that there's bombs going off, like, in apartment buildings. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have seen that.
Just out of nowhere, this apartment building just explodes because a mortar shell just hits the side of it.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the Russians are intentionally targeting apartment buildings and housing to like basically kill as many people as possible to basically demoralize the Ukrainians and make them surrender, which is not happening, which is a good thing. I think I want the Ukrainians to keep fighting, and I just wish that the U.S. would actually send in the fighter jets, because the U.S. initially said they would send in fighter jets to so that the Ukrainians could use those to.
Oh, so that we would just give them jets and they would pilot them.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we said that we would do that, and then we backed out of that for some stupid reason.
Probably because Putin's threatening nuclear war.
Yeah, but it's still really stupid that we did that.
Yeah, but yeah, I would rather that we give them jets and have the Ukrainians pilot them instead of
yeah,
US.
we wouldn't send pilots in.
That would basically just kick off World War III.
Yeah, that would.
That would be, yeah.
One good thing that we did do this week is we did cut off the Russian oil supply to the United States,
which jacked up our gas prices.
It did jack up gas prices, but I still think that it's a good thing that we cut off Russian gas.
Yes.
Russian oil. We just need to actually produce our own. Yeah. So yeah. And then let's see.
Dude, the other day gas prices were at like $4.20, which is
they're at $4.29 right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think down in Provo they're like $4.50. I heard.
Are they?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Diesel's like $5 and stuff.
Over in California, there's gas stations with like $7.89 a gallon or something like that. Like, it's ridiculous how much it costs.
Another reason to move out of California.
Mm-hmm.
Great weather, but politics suck. You don't have your freedoms anymore. You have to be vaccinated like 5 times. You have to wear 5 masks.
You have to get the Fauci ouchie and you can't breathe.
Fauci ouchie. Yeah, and then gas is gonna bankrupt you, and you can't work because they're still closed down, or I don't know. I'm assuming they're still closed down. I don't know.
They're starting to open up, but they are. There is a law in legislation right now that could potentially reenact several pandemic things or pandemic restrictions, which is really stupid.
Your cat is balancing on the back of my chair here.
Yes, he likes to do that.
That's very interesting. Yeah, why would they want to reenact more lockdown stuff? You'd think that as a government, you would want your state and your cities to do well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by locking down more, you're just destroying everything you have. I don't understand it. Because, like, here in Utah, we're doing pretty good, right?
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a lockdown. It wasn't too bad. You know, it was annoying having to wear a mask. But now, everything's normal, like, except for gas prices.
Yeah.
But nothing's closed down. No one's yelling at me to put a mask on. I feel like it's really normal.
Yeah, it seems pretty back to normal to me.
Yeah, so why they're not going to do that in California? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
kind of ridiculous.
It's big ridiculous.
So that's why I don't like California. My dad always says that what we should do is just sell the coastline of California, except for like maybe a couple, like Northern California is probably okay because that's actually a pretty area. But like once you start hitting the big cities, just sell that whole coastline of California, especially like Disneyland and all that. Sell that. That would like eliminate the debt because we could sell that for like trillions of dollars, get rid of the debt, and then just like keep the rest in and annex that into Nevada.
Okay, who are we selling it to?
I don't care as long as it pays off the debt.
It can't be to China. Those can't give any of our land to the commies. We have to sell it to like Canada or something.
Canada wouldn't want that. Actually, no, they probably would.
They probably would. Canada's pretty liberal, man.
Canada's like.
They're like, wait.
Canada's worse than California right now, which is saying something.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, bro. They would love that. Warm weather, a population that basically doubles the population of their country. Yeah, they would be all over that.
It's true. We should sell it to Canada.
Then they could put Donair there. Oh, dude, I love Donair.
What's Donair?
So imagine a gyro, except way better. They have like this sweet sauce they put on it.
Okay.
And they wrap it more like a burrito. Oh, dude, it's amazing. I hurt myself on those.
You hurt yourself?
Oh, I ate so many of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So good. So good. If you ever go to Canada, get Donair. And if you want to hurt yourself even more, get Donair pizza. That is the best food I've ever eaten in my entire life. Okay? Not just the best pizza, the best food. Donair pizza is amazing. Bro, if Canada calmed down and there's like no restrictions, no goofy lockdown things, I would ride up to Canada on my motorcycle, make a nice, good, long, fun trip just to get Donair pizza. Spend like a few days up there.
Just for Donair pizza.
Just for Donair pizza. But it would be fun too because I'm riding my motorcycle, right? I'm going to go through, I'll probably drive through, some national parks and stuff. Make a really nice, pretty, scenic drive. I have a great time,
but all for Donair pizza.
End goal is Donair pizza.
You just want the pizza.
I want the pizza.
That's the main goal.
That's it.
Okay.
Dude, so good.
I'm glad to know that pizza is that important, that it's worth a road trip up to Canada.
100%.
Okay. Good to know. All right. So today, for our video that we will be commenting on, it's a video from the Daily Wire, the Ben Shapiro show, and it's talking about the high gas prices that we have to deal with now. Jordan, do you like high gas prices?
I love them so much. It brings me eternal joy to look at the gas prices and know that I'm going to pay $70 for gas because I drive a truck with a big gas tank. It makes me happy because I know I'm contributing to capitalism.
I don't believe that for a second.
No, I hate it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I mean, how much Russian oil were we buying?
Not that much.
Really?
No, it was only about 5%. 5 or 10%.
Why? How much oil is the U.S. producing? I don't know. Can I Google that? I'm gonna try.
You can Google that.
How much oil does the U.S. produce?
I don't know how much oil the U.S. is producing. It's quite a bit, but it could be a lot more. And if we had the Keystone XL pipeline up, then gas prices would drop significantly.
Is that the Canada one?
That's the Canada one that Biden shut down.
Which is so dumb.
Yes.
All right, the U.S. ended 2021 producing 11.6 million barrels of oil a day, or about 12% of global consumption. So we produce more than what we bought from Russia, if your 5% is correct.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, not 5% of global consumption. 5%. 5% of what is of the oil that
consumption.
Is. Yes, 5% of the U.S. consumption.
Okay.
Most of the oil we produce in the United States is shipped elsewhere, which is stupid. It's like, why don't we keep that here?
Yeah.
And then, sell the excess stuff to other places, but keep most of it here so that way we don't have to buy from other people.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I'm sure there's something. There has to be a reason. Otherwise, why? Yeah, we're doing it for a reason, and I don't know what that is. But in my feeble mind that doesn't know economics or anything, I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either.
I don't understand it.
All right. So now we'll get to the video. It's gonna be pretty wild. Hopefully.
I haven't seen this.
So how's the? Got to turn up the volume first.
Because we're not professionals.
Because we are not professionals, so I need everyone to hear it.
Administration actually handling this particular gas crisis, which this is shades of 1970, 1977, 1978. I mean, it really is pretty wild. So Jen Psaki yesterday, she said, we are taking historic steps to reduce the price of oil. This, of course, is wildly untrue.
We have already taken steps. The president has already taken steps.
President can't take steps. He falls up steps.
That's done in a coordinated fashion. And clearly we will continue to have conversations with large oil producers and suppliers around the world about how to mitigate the impact and consider domestic options as well.
Okay, well, it's not true that releasing oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is going to solve this particular problem. Remember, Biden did this a few months ago when the oil prices spiked. He released like a little bit of oil, and then he was like, look at me, I fixed the problem. He didn't fix the problem, very clearly.
Gosh.
Yeah, the most telling exchange came yesterday, courtesy of Peter Doocy. So he asked Jen Psaki, you guys held up the Keystone XL pipeline. So Keystone XL would have allowed for Canadian imports of oil and natural gas through that pipeline.
So the other thing, interesting about the Keystone pipeline
to a Texas
petroleum
refinery.
So the interesting thing about that is a lot of Canada didn't want that. Well, they say they didn't want it because it's, dirty oil getting pumped through their land.
Mm-hmm.
But it's way cleaner going through a pipe than on a railroad.
On a railroad or on ships or through by truck, because guess what? All that is spewing CO2 into the atmosphere. Whereas going through a pipeline isn't doing that.
And there's a leak, it's just going to be contained in that little bit of dirt right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like out in the ocean, that big old BP spill, where it just, you saw a lot of it. And there was another recent spill where it was on fire and they were trying to put it out. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
It was crazy. But that was pretty big, you know? There's just going to be a little bit of oil on the dirt.
Yeah, and it's not like it'd be difficult to go patch that once you find it.
You just dig up the oily dirt and
then patch the hole and
bada
bing, bada boom, you're good.
It's so much simpler, and I don't know. It's like they see logic and just,
throw it out the window.
Easy route, and they're like, that doesn't look good to me. Let's make it difficult and expensive.
Oftentimes we're told that, like, the harder way is the right way to go. That's not always true.
No, it's not. Pipelines are great.
Pipelines are great. They make things so much easier. They really do.
They do. Yeah, well, all right.
Back to the video.
And that would have brought more oil online faster. It would have brought more resources online faster, and they rejected this. And so she was asked, why are you doing that? Why don't you greenlight Keystone XL? Why don't you ramp up production? Why don't you do the things that are necessary in order so that the United States can, in the future, bring down the oil prices? Why don't you do those things? And she literally says that it would be easier for the United States to go completely carbon-based fuel-free than to ramp up production, which
makes no sense at all. That's a complete lie.
Biden ever undo his executive order that stopped the construction?
So to go completely carbon-free, everything is based off of carbon fuel.
It is.
Most of the cars, okay? One argument I heard, these Tesla cars, and they're cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind driving a Tesla. But all those minerals to make the batteries, I've heard the argument that there's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I also hear the argument that there's not enough, fossil fuel to go around either. But, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that to me.
Well, and see, that's the dumb thing is, Tesla, there are these electric cars, which is good. But the problem is people don't understand that, electric cars are great because that's renewable energy. But there are non-renewable things that have to go into those lithium batteries.
Mm-hmm.
that require much more extensive and much more damaging mining than
those mining pits are huge
than oil drilling. And so you're, instead of destroying a narrow strip of land to put in a pipeline or a small piece of land to drill for oil, you are just completely devastating an entire ecosystem, destroying the entire landscape to mine for lithium or these other elements that go in these lithium batteries. Now, and the other thing is that it's like, okay, you can either pay, $2 extra of gas, or they're basically saying here, all right, go out and buy a $60,000 car instead of paying $2 extra per gallon. It's like, no, I barely have enough money to pay for gas now, but I definitely don't have enough money to drop $60,000 on a Tesla.
Yeah, even if you sell your car, you're not gonna have enough.
I don't have that much money. I'm sorry, I don't. I wish I did. That would be great if I did, but I don't.
Dude, you know how they have the stimulus checks? Instead of giving us money, they just give us electric cars.
There you go.
Give me a Tesla.
If the federal government gave me a Tesla instead of giving me stimulus checks, I would be okay with that.
Yes. But the other argument is, how do you power these electric cars? You have to make the power somehow, and that uses fossil fuels.
It does.
Unless you go nuclear.
Unless you go nuclear, which the Democrats don't want to. They've been destroying our nuclear power plants across the country. Same thing in Europe.
But nuclear is like, it's super clean.
It's super clean.
Okay, it's clean except for the radioactive waste.
But the radioactive waste can oftentimes be reused until it's like been recycled several times, and then finally it has to be disposed of. So like, it's not even producing that much radioactive waste.
Bro, dude, I had the perfect idea. You take the radioactive waste from the nuclear power plants, and then you bury it in the depleted mines for the lithium batteries. Dude, I just solved the whole. I solved the whole thing.
You just solved global warming.
Yeah, I just solved global warming, dude. Nuclear power plants and keep mining for
And then in 20 years, go back and all that nuclear energy, all that nuclear waste will be lithium.
Because that's probably how it works.
That's totally how it works.
Dude, what if like you could store energy in uranium a lot better than lithium? Dude, uranium batteries.
That would
be a nuclear car.
I don't
get
know.
in a car crash and there's a mushroom cloud at the distance.
And we have several mushroom clouds on the highway today. For the first snow of the year, like just mushroom cloud after mushroom cloud all the way down the road.
Yeah,
yikes!
That would be great. Hey, that would make you a really safe driver, though.
That's true. That would.
Instead of a fender bender, you get vaporized.
It's like all right. You can either die or you can drive safe. What do you want? You can either die or you can either drive safe or wipe out a city block.
Your car just turned into a tactical nuke.
Although I can see why that would be a bad thing, because then you have like...
Bro, you think school shootings are bad? This guy's going to drive his car into the school and make a crater.
And then you got the Terrys that would go and...
Terrys?
The Terrys would go and just like steal all the tactical nukes that are inside the cars and just run them into different cities and stuff, so... Yeah. I can see why that would be a bad thing, but it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea.
Interesting idea being put the nuclear waste into the depleted lithium mines, not the tactical nuke cars.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
Of the Keystone XL pipeline.
Are you suggesting that would solve the gas prices issue?
Well, do you think that would maybe affect prices faster than getting the whole country off of fossil fuels?
I actually don't think it would. The Keystone was not an oil field. It's a pipeline. Yeah. Also, the oil is continuing to flow in just through other means.
Yeah, it's a lot slower.
It would have nothing to do with the current supply imbalance.
Okay, she's an idiot. I'm sorry, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
She is an idiot. Why is she being paid?
If you smash the sink in your apartment, and you break that sink, don't worry, the water will come through other means. It won't affect your life in any way. Yes, that's true. The Keystone XL pipeline is not, in fact, an oil field. It is one of the many components that are necessary to bring oil to market.
Yeah.
It's like saying, if we took refineries offline, that's not an oil field. If you take refineries offline, the refineries aren't the oil field. After all they do is refine the oil. It's just unbelievable. These people are so committed to their environmentalist nonsense, to a way of thinking that is not remotely practical. Look, Elon Musk runs the chief electric car company on planet Earth, and he said yesterday, it doesn't matter how many electric cars you bring online, it's not going to solve the problem, which is that carbon-based fossil fuels are still significantly more efficient in terms of the energy they produce than anything else that we have.
Oh, that's interesting.
Certainly at scale.
Wow.
And yet this administration, at a certain point, you have to start thinking that the pain is purposeful.
Bro, okay, I'm watching Ben Shapiro right here. He's got different camera angles. He's got good lighting. The background's good. We should mirror this for our podcast.
Well, I don't have I guess I have a camera on my phone. I guess we could do that.
Okay. I should use my phone. I have an iPhone. That's a better camera.
That's true. So, all right.
Once this takes off, we'll get a whole, studio set and we'll be Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro.
And we'll actually record these things and not just audio, and then post them on YouTube, and you can actually see what we look like. And then we can get
demonetized.
What?
Bro, dude, these conversations we're having, man, that's not monetizable. You kidding me? We're trashing everything that YouTube believes in because we think it makes sense.
It's true.
And yeah, kind of like what they did with like Louder with Crowder. We kicked him off and demonetized everything. He has to live off of Substack or something. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate the effort that Ben Shapiro's show is going through. I think it looks very good.
It does. It does look very high quality. It's because he makes a crap ton of money.
The most obvious solution is right in front of
Did
them.
you make a couple movies?
Midterm and long term, which is you must ramp up production, make the United States and the West less reliant on some of the world's worst human beings. Instead, what if we make ourselves more reliant on? Again, this is the dirty secret. We can spend as much money as we want on green energy. It ain't going to make up for the fact that carbon-based fossil fuels are way more efficient on a per capita basis than are any of these green sources that they are talking about right now, with the exception of nuclear energy, which they don't want to build. This is what Europe has been finding out. Europe is just 10 years ahead of us on this. Europe radically reduced its own carbon emissions. It did so by importing a bunch of oil and natural gas from Russia. And that meant that when Russia attacked Ukraine, they were basically screwed. They were very limited in what they could do. And this administration wants to follow that European example all the way down. And it's amazing. Life slaps them in the face. You know, they used to say that a conservative was a liberal who'd been mugged by reality. Now a liberal is a liberal who'd been mugged by reality. A liberal just gets mugged by reality, but they don't care. They just keep going with it.
They just keep getting mugged.
It's unreal. So Kamala Harris yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should have more nuclear power plants. The other interesting thing, talking about these renewable energy, because you got like solar, and solar is cool when it's sunny outside and it's not cloudy or stormy, right? Mm-hmm. But the other thing is that our solar panels, they're not like super efficient, right?
Yeah.
They work, but they just don't harness all the power that they potentially could. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not a scientist. I don't know how to fix that problem. Then you have the windmills. Windmills, they don't move, they don't spin at their top speed. Mm-hmm. They're significantly slower than they could be. Have you seen a video of a windmill going full speed? They explode.
Oh, really?
It was going like Mach 3 and then just obliterated itself. It was insane. But like, it was, like I said, going Mach 3. We see them going like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Just slow. Maybe if we double that speed, then we'll get a lot more. Or maybe it's that speed for a reason, because if we increase it, I don't know, maybe we'll just wear out faster. I have no clue. But, you know, I don't know. The other thing I heard, that the wind energy isn't actually that great. And you need a lot of windmills.
You do need a lot of windmills. This is the problem with all this renewable energy, is like what Ben here is talking about, because it's like, it's great to have renewable resources, but all these are more detrimental or less effective than oil and gas. And so if you want us to switch over from oil and gas, find something that is more effective, more efficient, and less expensive, or at least this costs the same. Because if someone invents or finds a way to harness a renewable resource that is more effective, or at least just as effective and efficient at producing energy as oil and gas, and it costs the same, then more people are going to be willing to switch over.
I think hydroelectric power could be promising.
Hydroelectric power could be promising. The problem is, most people, to get a good amount of hydroelectric power, you need to build dams. Well, guess who's against building dams?
Are the liberals against building dams?
Yes, they are. Because it damages ecosystems.
But it creates all these cool, reservoirs that you can go boating in.
Yes.
Like Deer Creek.
It does create lots of cooler reservoirs that you can go boating in, but they don't like them because it disrupts ecosystems, and then people tend to create their own ecosystems within those. So, and like in some areas, I can understand that. Like, up in the Pacific Northwest, you've got salmon runs that go up the rivers, and if you put a dam in the river, the salmon can't get up.
Okay, that one would make sense.
That makes sense.
But if there's no salmon in your area and the fish are just,
kind of chilling.
Just chilling, make a dam.
Yeah.
and make a reservoir. The county or city or whatever, the state, in fact, is going to make a lot more money with that dam creating a reservoir because people are going to go boating, they're going to go fishing. It's going to, you're going to have hunting around there because all these deer and stuff are going to come over and drink the water and stuff.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
Yep.
Not just practical and give you energy. It'll be fun.
And then not only will it give you energy, it'll give you water storage because we've been going through a bunch of droughts recently, and then you have more water storage for farming and for drinking.
Yeah.
So literally there's nothing but a bunch of positives. Now granted, you have to be careful of what area you're in because, maybe there's a protected species or whatever. So you got to keep an eye on that. But as long as you
what if the protected species sucks? We'll nuke the protective species with a power plant and a dam. There you go.
Okay. We know Jordan's solution to to most of these problems now.
Is the green spotted frog gonna die? Yeah. Seems like a fair to me. Yeah.
Natural selection, adapt or die.
Natural selection. Deal with this dam.
You're supposed to be able to deal with change in your environment.
Yeah, adaptation, right?
Deal with this change.
Yeah, the whole... What was that? What was Darwin's whole theory? Evolution. Yeah, evolve. Evolve around this dam. This nuclear power plant, you stupid frog.
Actually, in Utah, we have seen species evolve. Specifically, kokanee salmon have evolved.
Oh, how they evolved?
So salmon, as most people know, well, actually not most people, as 25% of the population knows, salmon swim upriver, spawn, and die, right?
Yeah.
Well, kokanee salmon, because a lot of the reservoirs in Utah have smaller rivers flowing into them, so the rivers aren't very large. And the kokanee, there are just so many kokanee salmon, they can't all get up the river. And so there's a new strain of kokanee salmon that can actually spawn in the lake in still water. They have to the eggs that they lay have a better survival chance if they're in flowing water and they try and swim upriver, but they'll just spawn and die at the mouth of a river as it flows into a lake rather than swim all the way up the river.
So is the running water, is that just help oxygenate everything?
It helps oxygenate the eggs and it helps fertilize them and keep them oxygenated and all that kind of stuff. So but because they couldn't all fit up the rivers or they were just having trouble finding them, they actually would spawn in just still water in the middle of the reservoir, and they found that quite a few of those fish are actually surviving and spawning effectively.
See, that's interesting because I thought that was salmon and they would not spawn unless they found the place where they were born.
So they do spawn where they're so they do try and swim up to where they're born. So basically how they restock salmon is they will take the salmon fry, they'll put them in the river and at a certain point, and then the salmon will try and swim up to that point and spawn. Oh,
so when they're just... Okay. So they don't actually have to be born, they should be very young.
Yes. Okay. Because if they swim up to that point or they swim up that river, they think that's the river where they were born in, or at least the water that came from where they were hatched goes into that spot. And so that's why they swim up that river.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So but they've evolved because this many rivers and streams flowing into all the reservoirs here in Utah are just too small to support large salmon migrations going up the rivers and streams, and so they've started spawning just in still water. At Strawberry Reservoir, what they'll do is they'll just back a truckload of salmon down, dump them in the river or dump them in the reservoir right on the boat ramp, and if you go up 4 years later in the fall, all those adult salmon that have survived, you can just see massive schools of red salmon swimming right around the boat docks.
Wow.
And they'll just be spawning right there on the boat docks.
So then, what do trout do?
Trout, they also swim up. Some species also swim upriver and spawn, but the difference is they'll swim back down into the reservoir because they survive. They don't die after they spawn.
But do other fish species just spawn? Excuse me. Do they spawn in the reservoir and not up a stream?
Yeah, so you like lake trout, they spawn in the reservoir. You have rainbow trout, they'll spawn in the reservoir. Cutthroat and brown trout tend to swim upriver and spawn and then swim back into the reservoir or lake. So like different species of trout do different things.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Sorry about getting sidetracked on fish. I know it's all very interesting.
So Tucker, he loves fish. You know the saying, I think therefore I am. For Tucker, it is I fish therefore I am.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
That is very accurate.
So like, yeah, I fish therefore I am fishing. So
yep, that is true.
Yeah, just how Dr. Fauci is to science. I am to fishing.
Yeah. All right.
Gotta
cool.
love it. All right.
Your little fish info for the day.
All right, back to the video.
She is just a wonder. I mean, just a political master of her domain. She's incredible at this. So yesterday, she smiled and waved as she ignored questions on oil.
This is Kamala Harris, I believe. Yes.
She will catch you later. Bye.
Just leaves.
Well, what is she gonna do? She's not gonna give us a good answer.
That's true.
She
She'll
gave
just
an entire
laugh.
speech about what if we could imagine heavy duty vehicles producing zero emission. What if we could imagine that? What if we could imagine cars stalled in the streets because you morons decided that you were going to invest a bunch of money in less efficient sources of energy in the face of...
It's interesting. So what if you could imagine heavy-duty vehicles with no carbon emissions? Yeah, I think that's all you can do. I think you can just imagine that. I don't think that can be put in place.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, it's ridiculous. I don't know how these people
because
think.
there's carbon emissions somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a cool electric truck,
yeah,
you're still using carbon to make energy, unless we make some dams and some nukes.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
But that's yeah. Well,
you got to do one or the other. Sometimes it's the lesser of 2 or 3 evils, and unfortunately,
I don't see an evil. Okay, well, I mean, if a nuclear reactor, starts to pull a Chernobyl, I can see why that would be bad. But I don't think that happens very often.
It does not. And also in the United States, we're very good about making sure that we don't do that.
Yeah, I would hope that the the nuclear field would be untainted with this whole liberal. You have to hire them because they're transgender, not because they're qualified. I hope that stays pure, because if I also start identifying as more than a felon today, and I get hired at a nuclear power plant because of diversity, and I know nothing about nuclear power plants, then that's bad news.
Now, we do have something coming up in just a little bit after we finish the video, where we will talk about diversity.
Oh, all right.
So it's gonna be pretty great. I don't think you know what we're gonna talk about.
I don't. So this will be a surprise. So
this will be a surprise, and we'll get some good laughs in.
All right.
Dictatorships that are producing most of the energy that people need. I mean, what are you doing? Here's Kamala Harris yesterday.
Imagine a future. The freight trucks that deliver bread and milk to our grocery store shelves, and the buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine all the heavy-duty vehicles that keep our supply lines strong and allow our economy to grow.
Okay, so when I first watched this video, I heard this part, and I'm thinking, okay, she's if you heard her up to this point, it sounds like she's about to announce, we just came up with this new technology that allows us to have this green energy that powers our trucks and our trains and all this stuff that allows us to transport all this crap very quickly. And so I was about ready to, I was like, oh sweet, this is awesome. They came up with this super effective way to transport all this crap. And then you get this.
Imagine that they produced zero emissions. Well, you all imagined it.
Good day, Hyperion.
Oh, it's an ad.
You imagined it, and so it was.
See, all she says is, and you all imagined it. Okay.
Now what?
Now what? Exactly. Like, what are you, okay? And if she's talking to like scholars and stuff that actually invented whatever it is, like that's what I thought she was saying is, and you all imagined it, and here it is. Like you built it. No, you all imagined it, right? And that's it. You imagined it. Great.
Good enough for me.
Great. You're living in a fantasy world.
Oh my gosh.
Real, and so it was real because you imagined it. Imagine a unicorn. Whose farts power the economy. Can you imagine?
I can imagine a lot of things.
I saw it in your brain.
And it's a good thing that they're not real.
That is, man. If she hides in a sewer and carries her red balloon, she is such a clown. Okay, so that wasn't the best Kamala Harrisism.
Oh no!
Like there has to be
that
some
wasn't the
sort
best
of term
one
for Kamala Harris saying completely nonsensical things that are said with absolute fervor and are treated as deep thoughts. You know, the distinction between deep thoughts by Kamala Harris and deep thoughts by Jack Handey, that line has been basically obliterated at this point. Between Kamala Harris saying we must always do what we have been doing and we must continue to do it, and this one. So yesterday she dropped an all-timer. So here is Kamala Harris.
I'm going to play this in the background.
Yesterday and saying so little with so many words while smiling creepily at you. It was a moment. Here we go.
That's why we're here today. Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
Did you catch all that? Gotta retrace those steps, okay? Because this one is like, it's like an Escher Bach painting. It's like an Escher, MC Escher thing. Like the staircase goes around, and it looks like it's going back to the beginning, but somehow it's still below. That's the sentence. Okay, it's MC Escher. She says, okay, just get this right. We have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been.
That sounds like a female Trump impression.
The possible actually happened.
Jordan, I think you're onto something, and I love that face.
That's a
exactly
good frame right there.
That face right there is exactly what we are all thinking when we see Kamala Harris. But no, I think you might be onto something. Maybe she saw Trump and she's like, I gotta be that, but liberal, and so then she's trying that like unburdened by the past and unburdened by the future, and you all
imagine
and you all imagined it.
Don't take action, just imagine.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, oh my gosh, it's just this whole. They're just so stupid. They're just so full of it and so stupid that they don't realize.
I wonder how much she's getting paid to not, help the country. That's what I want to know.
I have no idea. That's the end of that video though. Oh my gosh,
Tucker's gonna have an aneurysm if we keep watching.
If we keep watching that, I enjoy watching Ben Shapiro roast the libs, but man, I might have an aneurysm if we keep watching that because it is just embarrassing. All right,
it is embarrassing. They won't. They know how to solve the problem, but it doesn't fit their woke agenda, so they won't do it.
Yeah,
but their woke agenda is only causing more problems, but they're just going with it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a big grand picture that we feeble-minded conservatives don't see, and that they're actually truly right, and we're just,
You know what that true big grand picture is?
Communism.
A communist dictatorship in the United States. That is the grand big picture of the Democratic
they say
Party.
that it hasn't been done right before. Maybe they have the true way to do it correctly. What if, I don't know, what if Vladdy Daddy's correct?
And and we'll all just be walking under a gay pride flag.
Ah, yes.
All right. So, speaking of gay pride, Jordan, have you heard of the Don't Say Gay bill?
You mentioned it earlier, and I have no idea. I'm assuming they're trying to make it illegal to say that's gay.
No, you're incorrect.
Oh,
See,
that's good because I say that a lot.
See, this is the problem with the media nowadays. Everyone's like saying, "Oh, Florida's passing this Don't Say Gay bill." Do you know what the bill is actually called? No one knows what the bill is actually called. It's called the Parental Rights Act.
What? All right. Elaborate
Okay.
on that. That sounds confusing.
Okay, so the Parental Rights Act is where essentially in Florida they have made it illegal for teachers in grades kindergarten through 3rd grade to teach or talk to students about sexual identity or anything like that. Like, so not talking about like gay crap or tranny crap or any of that other garbage. Like they just not allowed to talk to anyone 3rd grade or lower in the state about any of that sexual agenda crap. Which makes sense, right? Because I feel like that just makes perfect sense. Because it's like you don't take your first like health or sex ed class until you're in 8th grade.
Until you start maybe going through puberty a little bit.
Exactly.
And you have an understanding as to what's going on.
Exactly.
Why do I have a boner for 48 hours?
Oh my gosh.
Did that not happen to you?
No.
I mean, it didn't happen to me either, but...
Oh my gosh. So like, and I love, because when you hear the Democrats talking about this, they're like, oh, the Don't Say Gay bill. And so then you talk to them and they're like, oh, well, teachers in the classroom aren't talking to kids that are in 3rd grade or lower about their sexual identity and all this stuff. And so it's like, okay, well, if they're not doing it, then why is this a big deal? Why does it matter if we make this illegal if it's not happening? Because if it's not happening, then it doesn't matter if we make it illegal. But the reason why they're throwing a fit about making it illegal is because it is happening and they just don't want to admit it because they don't want the parents to turn against them, which the parents are already turning against them.
Parents are turning against, like, the schools all over the place, from what I understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're indoctrinating children to be gay. I mean, maybe that's not exactly what happened. That's what I like to say, though.
But, I mean, essentially that's what they're doing. They're
It's
essentially...
like Alex Jones says, the water's turning the frogs gay. The teachers are turning the children gay.
Pretty much. I mean, that's honestly pretty much what's happening. Is there, like, you have basically a 2nd grader come in, and they're like, I played with Barbie dolls yesterday, and the teacher's like, oh, you're a tranny, you're actually a girl, not a boy. And A plus, let's go get you some surgery in the nurse's office.
You're in math class. You're a girl. I think I like girls. Good job. You can graduate right now.
You can graduate right now. Here's your diploma.
Here's your diploma. Good job.
You can get a degree in gender studies tomorrow.
Because that'll get you a job that contributes to society.
I know. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. And so, like, I'm really happy that that Florida passed this bill. Apparently, I just found out today that Idaho passed a law that it is illegal and parents and teachers can be arrested if they... I can't remember exactly what the law says, but essentially, if parents or teachers try to cause bodily harm or make kids take puberty blockers under, I think, the age of 16 or something like that, they can be thrown in jail or thrown in prison for child endangerment. And don't quote me on that because I didn't read the law and I just heard about it like the other night, and I only heard about that was the first time I heard about it. But like, if that's essentially what they're doing, like, good on them. Like, I think more states need to do stuff like that.
I just think it's weird that this is a topic of discussion, that we have to talk to kids about sexuality.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't go through sex ed until, like, high school. Or, no, middle school, I'm sorry. Because that's when you're
going through puberty.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
When I'm in second grade, girls have cooties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you need to like talk about all this crap? Yeah.
I don't know.
It's I mean, honestly, it's just disgusting. It really is that they're trying to do this. Like they're in third grade. Let them be innocent. Let them like not have a clue or care about any of this stuff. Let them be third graders.
They're not even gonna know how to care about it.
Exactly. They don't, because they're not even going through puberty. So it's all this crap is just absolutely ridiculous.
How would you feel if, like, let's say, you have a kid and they're going to school, right? And then I'm like, hey, you need to be gay. And I indoctrinate your child to be gay. What would you do?
So I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, you know what? If/when we have a child and they're going to school, I'm going to tell them when they're in school, if your teacher mentions this, or this, like, being gay, being tranny, or whatever, or gay pride flag, or any of this crap, if they mention any of that crap to you, I want you to tell me when you get home from school, and I am going to have words with your school. I'm going to have words with that teacher, and I am going to do everything in my power to either make sure that teacher is not going to talk about that crap ever again. If they do it again, I'm going to make sure that my student is out of that class, and if my student can't be out of that class, I'm going to make sure that teacher is fired. Like, I don't care what it takes. I am going to make sure that teacher has no career in teaching for the rest of their life, unless it's in California, because they'll be able to teach anywhere in California.
Whatever you do, just please don't homeschool your children.
That might still be on the table. It depends on.
You need to go to school. You need these social skills, man. Dude, I met people. They're homeschooled. They're online schooled. And it's just weird, man. I mean, they can be great, nice people, but like you try and talk to them, and it's like, oh boy.
I mean, you are right. You are right. I will not deny that they are kind of weird and messed up.
It's when a parent homeschools their children, they commit social homicide.
Social homicide.
It's social homicide. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of homicide, we're not going to talk about homicide, but I had to transition over to our next thing, so that way we can try and get through talking about Sasquatch and its existence before we hit an hour and 15 minutes. But there is one more thing that we got to talk about. Have you heard of Jussie Smollett?
Yeah. So from what I understand about Jussie Smollett, is he hired some gay dudes to beat him up and do some sexy things, and then he said, oh no, I got beat up by bad guys, and then they got caught, and the truth came out that he paid them and set it up, and he's in jail now. And I saw a clip of the trial when they're like grabbing him to go put him in jail, and he's like, I am not suicidal.
I know.
If I kill myself, it's not me. I'm like, you're not
making any sense.
No, who's the guy? You're not Jeffrey Epstein, my guy. No one cares. You're not. You made it. You goofed. This is just a silly goof that people think is funny and doesn't really. Is whatever. You're not exposing billionaires and the social elite. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get strangled by your cellmate, and the cameras aren't gonna go off. No one cares.
Yeah. So the whole story behind this, because I followed this a little bit, and then I've like, once I heard about the trial verdict, I decided to follow it a little more and like go back and do some research on it. So basically, the whole story behind this, according to Jussie Smollett, he was walking in Chicago in the middle of the night in a massive winter storm in 2019. Okay. He goes to Subway at 2 a.m. because he wants a sandwich. On his way back to his apartment, he gets mugged by 2 white dudes in downtown Chicago wearing MAGA hats. Okay. And he is a gay black dude.
Why is his name Jussie?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It's Jussie with a U.
I know. It doesn't make any sense. So then he gets mugged. They put a noose around his neck, And somehow he still holds on to this Subway sandwich and makes it back to his apartment and calls the police.
Yeah, how do you keep your Subway sandwich intact?
I know, right? And it's at 2 a.m. in the middle of Chicago. There's not a white person in their right mind that is out in Chicago.
Yeah, that is
at
100%.
So, especially wearing a MAGA hat. If you're wearing a MAGA hat, that's like putting a target
Bro, you're the one
head.
who's going to get mugged with the Subway sandwich.
Exactly. So, oh crap, we're running out of time.
Wait, how long can this go for?
60 minutes. Okay, we'll wrap this.
What?
We'll talk about Jussie Smollett, and then we'll do another podcast and finish up with Sasquatch stories.
I didn't know this was limited.
I didn't know it was
Joe
either.
Rogan goes for like 3 hours.
Okay, all right, so we gotta finish up. So, what actually happened is Jussie Smollett, unbeknownst to him, walked down a street that had cameras on it. So what everyone actually saw was 2 black dudes wearing Trump hats run out, pretend to mug Jussie Smollett, and then he walked back to his apartment still holding his Subway sandwich because he still wanted that Subway sandwich.
I mean, I would want a Subway sandwich too.
And so it's absolutely ridiculous because it's just like he literally pretended that a hate crime was done against him because he's black and gay, and so he paid 2 black dudes to come out and mug him while wearing MAGA hats.
Wow. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't know who Jussie Smollett was, really. And so I just looked it up. Turns out he's an actor.
Yeah, he is an actor.
And I looked at what he's been in, and he hasn't been in anything good. Like,
Well, and his acting is terrible, as you can tell from the trial.
well, he was in Alien Covenant, which might be the best thing. Well, The Mighty Ducks, maybe. I haven't seen that, though. But Alien Covenant was retarded. It was the worst Alien movie ever. Don't watch it. It had potential, but they threw that out the window. But yeah.
So yeah, that is the story of Jussie Smollett, and I am so happy. Oh, and so in the trial, when he's being sentenced, the judge is like, all right, we're going to sentence you to 30 months of probation, or something like that, months of probation. Then they're like, all right, you're going to have to pay this much money in fines and reparations to the city. And so Jussie Smollett's sitting there like, oh, yeah, I'm okay. You know, he's kind of relaxed a bit, like, I'm not going to jail. And then the judge is like, and we're going to put you in county jail for 150 days. And he's like, and then he stands up, I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal. And repeats that like 20 times. Like, I just want all of you to know, I respect you, but I hate your decision. And
yeah,
I hate you.
I respect the judge, but like, blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah, blah. And I'm not suicidal. And it's like, bro, if anything happens to you, we all know that it's going to be your own fault because, one, you're the one who put yourself in there by pretending to get mugged by white dudes even though they were black.
I was expecting to be suicidal after making Aliens Covenant.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's all the time we have for this segment of the podcast. We will make a second portion of the podcast to talk about Sasquatch and
what if we
its
just like
existence and
stop
stories.
this one right now? And we're like, all right, that's all for today, folks. And then just immediately started the Sasquatch one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, all right, cool. All right. You get 2 episodes real quick.
You get 2 episodes back to back, people. All right.
The Sasquatch one's going to be lit.
It is. All right.
You heard Tucker talk a lot. You're going to hear me stammer and talk about Sasquatch nonstop. You think I'm weird now with my, daily, whatever my identity is, bro. Sasquatch is love. Sasquatch is life.
Sasquatch is gay.
Make Sasquatch gay again.
All right. I've been Tucker. This has been Jordan. We are the Third Hand. We'll catch you on the flip
Peace
side.
out.